Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Saturday, the 9th of August, 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai or your postbot on chain. Right, let's see what we've got today. A cracking show. Going to go through this thread by Bond.17. Great to see some newbies coming into the space and getting stuck in. They're realizing what's gone on. They know there's a problem. They're looking for solutions, and they realize that all legal and political influence stem from economic power. If the money is corrupt, everything is corrupt. Fix the money, fix everything. So this is great. So we'll go through a thread there. Anna Iverson has just done another fantastic article here, which we'll read through. Looking forward to this. She's titled it, The Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology. So, we'll go through that. It's quite a long piece, longer than I'm used to doing on my show, but, we'll get through it, get the gist of it for the show. Title here from Yahoo Finance saying Rachel Reeves gives green light for tax crackdown on savings accounts. The government are literally going for them. They want you poor as fuck, is what they want. That's she's going. We'll have a look at that. BBC article here says biometrics to replace stamps at EU border from the 12th of October. Like, whoa, dystopian coming in left, right, and centre. Jeepers. They also said here, but BBC says scrapped clean air zone signs. Removal begins. And literally, they've started taking down these scam signs that the WEF wanted up, or clean air zone and all that. Absolutely. We're going to fining you for polluting the clean air zone. What a load of crap. Anyway, I suppose, every little win is a tick in the box. We'll have a look at this hilarious video here from Instagram. That's brilliant. We'll have a quick look at the figures, see what's going on in the market. Got a post here from CSW that we'll go through. More posts here from Packard. And we'll finish with some 365 days of Bitcoin history. Right, let's get into it.
Greg says he's Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong and transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Alrighty, here we go. We are up and running. So on FCK Your Future, DocBond17 said in response to John Lee Cash, class as server as ever. He said, when Terranode is fully launched, BSV's gloves are coming off. Terranode must be fully online before the next move. Few are ready for what's coming. It's going to be a reality. It's going to be a reality shattering on a cataclysmic scale. The future is blindingly bright. Well, it's blindingly bright for those that can already see light at the end of the tunnel. But epic there. Absolutely epic. Great to see your profiles coming in and sticking their foot in. Because that's a John Lee Cash with only 146 followers. So relatively new to the space, I'm guessing. But this is great to see. Great to see. So Doc Bond said in response to that, Terranode is a genuine technical milestone for BSV. It's designed to massively increase throughput, low latency, and allow dynamic scaling to millions of transactions per second. If it delivers as promised and there's real adoption, enterprise micropayments, AI data feeds, etc., the economics for miners and businesses could shift dramatically in BSV's favor. A protocol upgrade alone doesn't magically cause cataclysmic market shifts. BTC's market dominance isn't about raw tech. It's about liquidity, branding, regulatory integration, and network effects. Well, yeah, Bitcoin's an economic model. Even with Terranode live, without strategic partnerships, sustained marketing, regulatory clarity, and a clear path for onboarding users and miners, the market won't suddenly reprice BSV overnight. Well, I think it might, just because of the block fee. Block fee comes on, literally, $300,000 per block. All the miners come over, selling their bags, hand over fist. Literally, it's going to be crazy. He continues, for Terranode to have the reality-shattering effect the tweet hints at, it would need to be followed immediately by visible high-value use cases that can only run on BSV, and that start generating serious transaction fees. But I mean, personally, in my opinion, I think those small to medium-sized enterprises, which are actually quite large, I have a feeling they're waiting in the wings. Just my opinion. Without that, BTC Maxis and the broader market will just ignore it, at least at first. Some use cases are already waiting in the wings. As I've just said, a few enterprise pilots, blockchain-based data services, and payment platforms have hinted their scaling plans with Terranode throughput, but most aren't public or at large scale yet. Keeping it in the bag, aren't they? There's no strong pipeline where we can see publicly, nothing like a MasterCard level announcement or a Fortune 500 integration scheduled to go live the day Terranode is fully online. Without that, it's unlikely we'll see an immediate use case explosion. True, but I mean, the block fee does have to explode. Everything kind of has to happen at once. So I think there are substantially large enterprises, maybe not FTSE 100 or Fortune 500, but large enough, small to medium-sized enterprises that are chomping at the bit, wanting market share, that are wanting an economic advantage over their competitors, and BSV gives them that by a huge amount. The market still needs proof. Businesses care less about theoretical transactions per second limits and more about proven reliability, regulatory clarity, and economic benefit. Those need to be demonstrated with visible revenue-generating projects. If Terranode quietly launches and no major applications immediately showcase its power, the risk is that the moment fizzles and the market just shrugs. BSV community, Terranode isn't the finish line, it's the starting gun. But I would say that those in the race are lined up waiting for the starting gun to go. That's what I think. When the tech is live, we can't just watch the ticker. We must flood the network with real transactions, onboard businesses, and showcase scale to the world. The gloves only come off if we throw the first punches, build use cases that crush BTC and Ethereum's limits, convince miners where the long-term profits are, show enterprise the speed, cost, and reliability they can't get anywhere else. We have the protocol, the throughput, and the vision. Now we need the execution. The world won't just wake up to BSV, we make them. Well, I think all the races are at the starting line waiting for the gun to go. That's what I think personally. But we will see. But great thread there. So let's get on with Anna's Substack here with this article saying strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology. A forensic analysis of Executive Order 14178 for signals of a transition to a mature blockchain economy. Strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology. A forensic analysis of Executive Order 14178 for signals of a transition to a mature blockchain economy. The White House report entitled Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology, issued under Executive Order 14178, sets out a national agenda for digital assets that is both cautious and foundational. While presented in neutral bureaucratic language, a closer forensic reading reveals embedded signals throughout, suggesting a significant shift is underway. It is signaling a move away from speculative cryptocurrency markets towards the integration of lawful, scalable, and interoperable blockchain infrastructure that can serve as core public infrastructure. Infrastructure as public utility, Section 231 of the report states, quotes here, the federal government can support the development of foundational infrastructure to help digital asset technologies achieve their full potential. This phrase positions blockchain not as a niche involvement or speculative financial tool, but as a critical infrastructure akin to roads, power grids, or the internet. The language surrounding interoperability, technical standards, and legal frameworks implies a future in which blockchain operates as a unified, legally compliant foundation for digital commerce. This is a subtle yet direct denunciation of the fragmented crypto ecosystem built on private chains and proprietary tokens. Open standards versus centralized gatekeepers, sections 2.3.2 continues, Promoting open standards and competition in foundational digital asset infrastructure may help avoid entrenchment in proprietary or centralized systems. The wording here is significant. The report warns of the danger of centralized entities masquerading as decentralized networks, a hallmark for much of the current crypto industry. The phrase foundational digital asset infrastructure again suggests a focus on base layer protocol architecture, not on use case specific platforms or venture-backed ecosystems. This opens the door to blockchain designs that support IP to IP scalability, legal traceability, and multi-party computation at the base layer. Historical anchoring, footnote 209. On page 63, footnote 209 references a CoinGeek article titled "A Bitcoin Genesis Block Constructed 11 Years Ago Today," Jan 3rd, 2020. CoinGeek is widely known on the market for its affiliation with the Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, BSV blockchain, and the assertion that Dr. Craig Wright is Satoshi Nakamoto. While the article itself is commemorative, its inclusion in an official US government report is notable. It is the only reference to the report to Bitcoin's original and signals an awareness, however tacit, of the original design and its implications. This may reflect an institutional understanding that the solution to today's digital asset chaos may lie in returning to the beginnings, not endlessly iterating on broken models. Additionally, this is the only explicit citation of the Bitcoin Genesis block in the entire document, and its selection of CoinGeek as a source is unusual and telling, given the government's typical cautious sourcing protocols. Satoshi Nakamoto and the white paper. The report references Satoshi Nakamoto at least 21 times. What coincidence. Quoting not only the Bitcoin white paper, but also forums, posts, and early public correspondence. There are not casual inclusions. They form a recurring subtext. On page 9, in a box titled Crypto 101, Satoshi Nakamoto is quoted right at the top. Quote here saying, "Writing a description for this thing for general audiences is bloody hard. There is nothing to relate it to." Increasingly, the Crypto 101 boxes goes on to explain the origins of distributed ledger technology and how Satoshi Nakamoto solved the so-called double spending problem, enabling a trustless system to operate decentralized and permissionless. Furthermore, it goes on to explain the use of public and private keys, central to the operation of the original Bitcoin protocol, crucially enabling privacy but not secrecy. Quotes here, "The account numbers on a blockchain are known as addresses. Anyone can create a new address and send and receive cryptocurrencies. A user first creates a private key, effectively a password, that provides the holder the ability to digitally sign transactions. This private key has a paired public key, which is used to create the address. An important feature of this key pair is that private key can create a public key, but it is computationally intractable for conventional computers to use a public key to derive its private key. This stems from a feature of the underlying math, which allows the private key to unlock the public key, but not the other way around." On page 12, in a box titled Software Wallets versus Hardware Wallets, Satoshi Nakamoto is mentioned again. Quote here, "It is important to acknowledge that blockchain technology and the opportunities it provides did not emerge from TradFi or Washington, D.C. think tanks. Conversations on open internet forums and mailing lists were the launch pads for figures like Satoshi Nakamoto to outline and debate core principles for a new decentralized system of trust. Throughout the report, there are references to original posts to anchor the topics discussed. The inclusion of these explanations set the tone for the document's recurring references to Satoshi Nakamoto's framing of Bitcoin as a novel system. The report further acknowledges that blockchain technology emerged not from institutional finance but from open internet forums, where Satoshi Nakamoto debated key principles underpinning decentralized trust. On page 43 of the following quote by Satoshi Nakamoto had been included. Quote here, "Bitcoin has no dividend or potential future dividend, therefore not like a stock, more like a collectible or a commodity." Well, absolutely a commodity. Moving on to page 63, the following citation appears. "Commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers the inherent weakness of the trust-based model. This is a direct quotation from the second paragraph of the white paper, spearheading Bitcoin's original mission to eliminate reliance on trusted third parties by enabling peer-to-peer electronic cash. The inclusion of this quote in a federal report on digital financial infrastructure is a meaningful signal that the report's authors, or at least its contributing commenters, understand the philosophical and technical roots of blockchain. On page 100, there is another quote from Satoshi Nakamoto made in a post on the Bitcoin Talk Developer Forum in 2010. The quote here, "The developers expect that this will result in a stable with respect to energy currency outside the reach of any government. I'm definitely not making such taunt and assertion." This line reinforces the original design philosophy behind Bitcoin as a lawful but independent monetary system, one that derives stability not from artificial pegs or government tokens, but from its intrinsic energy expenditure and protocol rules. Additionally, its objective was never to operate outside of the system that formed the foundations of our society, but for digital assets to be traceable and recoverable through ordinary legal channels. On page 124, another interesting Satoshi Nakamoto quote appears. Quote here, "The nature of Bitcoin is such that once version 0.1 was released, the core design was set in stone for the rest of its lifetime. Because of that, I wanted to design it to support every possible transaction type I could think of. The design supports a tremendous variety of possible transaction types that I designed years ago. Escrow transactions, bonded contracts, third-party arbitration, multi-party signatures, etc. If Bitcoin catches on in a big way, these are things we'll want to explore in the future. But they all had to be designed at the beginning to make sure they would be possible later." Yeah, in order for it to be a commodity, like these things already have to be in on it before the first token was extracted from the network. This crucially points to a protocol set in stone from inception that demonstrates that Satoshi Nakamoto had sought to cater for many different permutations that might become relevant as the technology is adopted. Having a fixed protocol is of the utmost importance in order to preserve the decentralized nature of the blockchain, a concept which is at odds with today's mutating crypto platforms. Only one blockchain today remains that vision faithfully, Bitcoin's Satoshi Vision, BSV, with a locked protocol, legal infrastructure, and scalable design that aligns with the benchmarks laid out in the report. The reference to the protocol being set in stone is more than metaphorical. It reflects a foundational design philosophy where the base protocol is fixed and inviolable, yet sufficiently extendable to support future functionality. This concept, articulated by Satoshi Nakamoto and later defined by writers like Zeng M. Gao, recognizes that innovation should occur on top of the protocol, not within it. In other words, tools and technologies may evolve to enhance privacy, identity, security, and user experience, but the rules governing the transfer of value and the integrity of the ledger must remain consistent over time. Absolutely. Spot on there, Anna. Such immutability is not a constraint on progress. It is the condition of decentralization itself. A protocol that changes with governance, votes, or central planning cannot be trustless or neutral. The BSV blockchain preserves the original transaction model, the unspent transaction output, UTXO infrastructure, fixed opcodes, the protocol level finality, enabling true legal contracts, court enforcing asset recovery, and scalable digital cash. Thus, the report's implicit emphasis on standards, trust minimization, and institutional integration appears to align not with platforms that are still iterating on their base rules, but with one that already fulfills the vision, namely a blockchain with a stable foundation and room to build lawfully on top. This observation also dissolves the common misconception that Bitcoin's Satoshi Vision is a fork. In truth, BSV is the original chain, preserving the full historical ledger and unaltered protocol. It was BTC through the implementation of SegWit and removal of critical opcodes, and later BCH through canonical transaction ordering and hard forks, spot on, that diverged from Bitcoin's foundational rule set. What BSV represents is not an innovation layer onto derivation by way of a fork, but the restoration of the original architecture, still functioning and now poised to serve as lawful infrastructure. This is brilliant. Today, these references trace a straight line from Satoshi Nakamoto's vision to the BSV blockchain, the present-day platform that still enforces it at scale. BSV is alone in maintaining the original protocol, enabling lawful traceability, supporting microtransactions, and preserving the peer-to-peer cash model. The Satoshi Nakamoto references act as a breadcrumb trail, inviting readers to recall Bitcoin's lawful commercial design, not the less fit for purpose speculative platforms that have appeared after it. Real-world utility, not speculation. Throughout the document, emphasis is placed on the role of digital assets in improving commerce, inclusion, and transparency. For example, Section 3.1.2 states tokenization of real-world assets could also improve liquidity and transparency. In Section 4.1, quotes, digital assets could help underserved communities, providing sufficient legal, technical, and user protections are in place. These references frame digital assets as a tool for economic participation, not vehicles for speculation. The preconditions, legal clarity, scalability, and user protection are precisely what lawful blockchain systems must deliver. This suggests an emerging alignment with platforms capable of enabling micropayments, token recovery, and legal contracts at scale, characteristics presently absent from the mainstream crypto offerings. The report's mention of stablecoins and tokenized real-world assets enforce this orientation. Lawful digital representations of value must be backed by scalable infrastructure that enables real commerce, not synthetic yield. What the report doesn't say, equally revealing, is what the report omits. Although mentioned, there is no endorsement of Ethereum, Solana, or any proof-of-stake system. There is no championing of DeFi, NFTs, or algorithmic stablecoins. There is no celebration of crypto trading or yield farming. The silence is instructive. The report avoids these popular narratives and instead frames blockchain as a neutral infrastructure layer to be legally constructed and governed. This silence, paired with precision language around open standards and lawful design, suggests the authors understand the difference between crypto and noise and blockchain and signal, but are constrained from stating it directly. Conclusion: subtle signals pointing to a new architecture. The Executive Order 14178 report offers a technical roadmap for digital financial infrastructure, but its subtext reveals more. Its careful focus on lawful architecture, open standards, and real-world value delivery suggests the US is positioning itself for a pivot away from the speculative crypto economy and towards a mature, compliant, and scalable blockchain-based layer. The architecture described, but not yet named, resembles only one chain in operation today, and that is the BSV blockchain. While the report remains silent on names, exploring many facets of blockchain and distributed ledger technology and its potential applications, its structure speaks volumes. The transition is already underway. There are subtle but deliberate signals which are unmistakable for those with ears to hear. Oh, fantastic. What an absolutely amazing article that was by Anna. Yeah, it's amazing that people's learning has come such a long way. I mean, there's no way anybody with that level of understanding could ever have the wool pulled over their eyes with regard to shitcoins anymore. There's no way. I don't think there are any BSVers now that could actually turn into shitcoiners. Not with that level of understanding. I mean, that was awesome. Right, let's go on to this silly bint. Rachel Reeves gives a green light for tax crackdown on savings account. Like, what is she on about now? Oh my goodness me. So this says savers could see tax due on interest payments deducted directly from their salaries in future after Rachel Reeves approves rule changes on banks sharing customer details. So erosion of privacy is what this is. This is absolutely outrageous. The Chancellor wants it to be easier for HMRC, who are now a private limited company, they've got no authority whatsoever, to charge people the tax due on their savings. The tax is voluntary. They've got no right to dip in and take it. With an estimated 300,000 more people than 5 years ago now passing the threshold for when that payment kicks in. Currently, basic rate taxpayers have a £1,000 personal allowance on earning interest tax-free. This drops to £500 for high-rate taxpayers and £0 for additional rate. There's also a £5,000 starting rate allowance, but this drops with increased earnings and is wiped out for people who earn above $17,570 a year. With wages rising, fiscal drag has meant many people have moved into the next tax band, and therefore their tax-free allowances on savings interest is cut, which can lead to a hefty or unexpected tax bill. The best way for savers to avoid such a scenario is, first and foremost, to ensure that they are using a cash ISA as their primary savings account in which all earnings are tax-free. A £20,000 per person annual allowance applies to products across all ISA types, including investing ISAs or lifetime ISAs for pension or first-time buyers. AJ Bell calculated British people would earn around $20 billion from non-ISA cash accounts this year, with HMRC expecting to collect more than $6 billion in taxes from savers. Letters will be sent with tax code changes to those who face automatic deductions, meaning an unwelcome surprise in lower than expected take-home pay is on the agenda. For years, most savers didn't give a second thought to paying tax on their interest rates. Rates were low and the personal savings allowance offered a generous cushion, but the landscape has changed rapidly, because the government fucked it up on purpose. A combination of raising interest rates, frozen tax thresholds, more people being pushed into high tax bands, and years of cash ISAs being overlooked means many are now being pulled into the tax net for the first time. And AJ Bell's Laura Sutter, Director of Personal Finance. For those who have moved their money to better paying accounts and find themselves breaching the tax-free limit, many won't realise until the taxman catches up. Self-assessment filers will need to declare any interest earned, but for those on PAYE, HMRC will collect the tax directly from their payslips by adjusting their tax code. That's outrageous. That can lead to a nasty surprise when people see their take-home pay suddenly fall. Banks will need to ask regular savings account customers for their national insurance numbers. They've got no right to ask for that whatsoever from 2027, reports the Telegraph. Oh my, that is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Once the rule changes become passed into legislation, which again legislation applies to the government, doesn't apply to living men and women at all in the Justin Rem jurisdiction at all. Expected next year, customers should not need to do anything further unless more changes are announced. Interest earned is already shared with HMRC, but up to 20% of its unreadable, a report said so tax cannot automatically be collected. The government has previously said changes will cost £35 million to implement, while banks likewise face huge costs to make systemic alterations. An HMRC spokesperson said these reforms will make it easier for customers to get their tax right first time, including paying tax on savings income by improving our ability to match third-party data to taxpayer records, making better use of data while it also will also help us prevent error and fraud on behalf of the honest majority. Yeah, I was saying we've got a dishonest government who are literally out there to rip people off. That is absolutely scandalous. Good grief, and check this one out. So the BBC said biometrics to replace stamps at EU border from the 12th of October. Dystopia 101. Stamps in people's passports will be replaced by biometric checks for people travelling in and out of the EU from the 12th of October, officials have confirmed. The entry/exit system will replace the current paper checks and will mean passengers from the UK will need to have their fingerprints. And what doctor's going to be looking after that? They have not got a medical license that allows them to get. This is outrageous. Their fingerprints and faces scanned to cross an EU border. Honestly, this is absolutely outrageous. The scheme will be rolled out across member nations over 6 months, meaning it will not be fully implemented until the 10th of April 2026. It was due to come into effect last November, but has been beset by technological delays. Under the new system, non-EU residents, including people from the UK, will need to register their biometric data. That's absolutely outrageous, along with their passport details to enter the EU country. Anyone who refuses to provide the biometric data will be denied entry into the EU. Sue the fuck out of them for doing that. Currently, travellers have to present their passport to a border official to be checked and stamped. The data will be collected at a point of departure, either at an airport or a train station, where there will be a dedicated booth for scanning fingerprints and taking a photo. Fucking sickening. This record will then be valid for 3 years and means on later trips abroad, officers will only need to verify a person's biometrics, which the EU hopes will take less time. People with e-passports will also be able to use e-gates. There is no cost for EES registration. For most tourists, digital records will only be held for 3 years, and but they're still going to keep them. We know that. But for those who overstay the 90-day limit without a visa, they will have their data held for 5 years. The system aims to tighten border security. Well, yeah, well, they're going to do that over here. Doubt it. The system aims to tighten border security, but has raised concerns for long queues. The UK government has warned travellers to be prepared to wait during busy times while the scheme begins, as the checks will take several minutes to complete. However, the EU has said that once implemented, the EES will shorten wait times at borders by enabling faster checks and allowing passengers to provide their information in advance. Since the UK left the EU, airports at many popular European holiday destinations have seen long queues of British travellers that their passports have required checking and stamping. There have also been long queues at the Eurotunnel, and the new system sparked concerns that waiting times for people travelling to and from France by car would only be exacerbated by the new system. Passengers will be given handheld devices to register in their cars while French border checks have been implemented on the British soil. French border checks implemented on British soil at the Port of Dover and Eurotunnel's Folkestone and the Eurostar St Pancras terminal. In May, the UK and EU struck a deal which allowed for UK nationals to use EU e-gates only after the EES is introduced. Once the EES is in place, UK nationals will therefore be able to use e-gates where they are available, provided they are registered in this system, an EU Commission spokesman told the BBC at the time. Some European countries, including Germany and Bulgaria, already allow e-gates access to UK citizens. It's fucking disgusting. Fucking disgusting. Anyway, we've got a little win here. So, scrapped clean air zone signs removal begins. Hilarious. The process of removing 1,300 signs from the now cancelled Greater Manchester Clean Air Zone has begun at a cost of around $600,000 paid for by the government. The signs were installed alongside cameras as part of the scheme, which aimed to change drivers of high-polluting vehicles up to £60 a day. It was dropped after a backlash in 2022. The Greater Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham, put forward an alternative proposal to invest in cleaner buses and taxis that was signed off by the government earlier this year. Leader of Manchester City Council, Bev Craig, said the signs have been totemic of the scheme's failure and a thing that everyone has been really annoyed by. But she said she wanted the community to be reassured that the cameras, as well as the new buses and taxi scheme, would help improve air quality. Craig told BBC Radio Manchester, the reality is our air is not clean enough, and it's often the poorest communities that suffer. Oh, do want absolute bullshit. Once those signs come down, hopefully we'll be able to move on, but move on knowing that the air is going to be cleaner. Oh my God. Clean air zones, CAZ, which are in operation in many cities across the UK, aim to improve air quality by cutting the number of high-polluting vehicles on the road. Since the scheme in Greater Manchester was scrapped, the region's 10 councils have been considering whether the signs put up to notify drivers about the zones could be repurposed. But the Transport for Greater Manchester said a decision had been made to remove them at a cost of £600,000 to be paid for by the government. Yeah, taxpayers, basically. Honestly, absolute BS. We know what's coming. We need to catch all these criminals out by putting all their bullshit on the blockchain is what we need. Check this post out from CSW. It says, Chapter 10, Combining Value. Some folks think that combining value is like pouring 2 pints of beer into one glass. You just get more beer. These are the same people who think you can hide bad ale by mixing it with good. The truth is, when you start aggregating inputs, you're not just making a bigger number, you're making a bigger story. And stories have fingerprints. They have a shape, a smell, a way they roll off the ledger, like a drunk falling off a bar stool. And that was in response to Mr. Ben saying, CSW, are you considering publishing the Ledger of Truth in a hard or paperback version of the future? Now, that's something I would love to have on my bookshelf. Fantastic. Fantastic. And he goes into a thread there. But we are 34 minutes in already. Jeepers. All right, let's move on. Check this out. Packard has said here, there is no king, and this is related to a video from CSW in Arnhem in 2017. Here we go.
There is no fucking king. There is no glorious leader. One thing I will do, yes, someone got it right. I am here to kill off Satoshi. Not in the way that you want, because there is not going to be some great leader standing above. It is not going to be what Core tried to do with Nick. There is not going to be one person that we come and answer to. It will be the best ideas, the best solutions. Not because you think they're the best, because the market does.
There we go. Check it out. So what he's talking about as a commoditized network. There's going to be no leaders dictating what is and isn't a good idea. The market will decide. Finally. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. All right, check this posted. This is hilarious. Here we go.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah, what's up?
Absolutely nothing, so don't panic. It's just a very quick one. I appreciate you're at work, but Warwickshire have asked me to come round and just basically, it's a load of bollocks, mate, but it's about this protest tomorrow in Warwickshire.
Yeah.
And just saying, obviously, that they're aware that you might be wanting to attend that planned protest, and obviously that's absolutely fine. You've got a freedom of speech, and that's no issues at all. And all they've asked me to do, mate, it sounds bad, so I apologise, and it's really woeful. It's not something I agree with, but I've been asked to do it. It's just to drop a leaflet about being involved in a protest. Actually, it sounds bad, but it is what it is.
Do me a favour. Take it back to them and
Yes,
write
mate.
back on it to them. Say, we will no longer be silenced and to fuck himself. From me, with love. Cheers. Thanks very much.
With love?
Yeah, with love. Yeah.
Cheers, dude.
The silent majority of Britain will no longer stay silent. Tell them that. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Nice one, Ash.
Brilliant. That's what we want. Some more of that. Tell them to fuck themselves with love. There we go. Right, let's have a look at the blocks coming through in. Nothing to write home about there. But wow, 110,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Gregcoin. Oh, the profitability is coming down. It's only 21% more profitable to mine on Bitcoin over Gregcoin. And it looks like CoinDance is not showing us the politics in the pie charts. Oh, it's currently offline. Jeepers. All right, then. Let's have a quick look at the market then. $3.8 trillion in market cap. Gregcoin, $116,000. Whoa, Ethereum up 4,276. What is that? So what's Ethereum's all-time high? All-time high. Well, all-time high is just 4,800, and we're 4,200. Ooh, I wonder if shitcoiners are looking elsewhere. BTC shitcoiners maybe looking at Ethereum, thinking that it might be more useful. Wow. XRP, $3.20. Yeah. All the rest of the market, what a load of crap that is. Dear, oh dear. Right, let's have a find where Bitcoin is. Oh, it's $103.27. Here we go. 24-hour trade volume, just 12 million. Just 12 million, but the price is up to $27. So the price is up 3% over 24 hours, 7% over 7 days, 6% over the last 30 days, down 33% over 3 months, and 34% over 1 year. But we know that's artificial suppression. Yeah, we do. Oh, look at that. Sellers coming in. Breakdown, we've got CoinDCX saying they've got the largest trade volume. Huobi in second. Gate.io in third. Is that CoinEx in fourth or MEXC Global? And then there's a Dixon down there. But let's have a look at liquidity. Oh, HitBTC now taking liquidity on. Followed by XGO Exchange, then Changelly Pro, HiBT, Bitmart, interesting. hit BTC. I might have to actually have a look at the charts on that one, maybe next time. Right, let's go on to some 365 days of Bitcoin history. On the 9th of August 2008, the first PGP key for the email satoshi@vistomail.com was created. The Vistomail account and PGP key is what Satoshi used when emailing Adam Back and Wei Dai on the 20th to the 22nd of August 2008 in preparation for the release of the white paper. Oh, wow. Just lost that there again. There we go. The first Satoshi Vision PGP key was created on the 9th of August 2008. On the 9th of August 2012, Mount Gox glitch caused a Bitcoin to be priced at $1 billion a piece on the exchange. On the 9th of August 2021, AMC said they will accept Bitcoin. AMC will begin accepting Bitcoin payments for concessions and theatre tickets as soon as the end of the year, marking the latest development in AMC's hard lean into the meme stock stardom. During the company's second quarter earnings call, AMC boss Adam Aron kicked off the Bitcoin bull a bullet point by noting, unsurprisingly, that many of AMC's new shareholders are quite enthusiastic about cryptocurrency. Let's have a look at, I think I remember these ones. There we go. Meme stock AMC now plans to accept Bitcoin. And let's see what that other article was. CNBC. AMC says it will. It says we'll accept Bitcoin as a payment for movie tickets by year end. Awesome. There we go. Right. We'll leave it there because that is a 41-minute show. Right. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll leave it there. So as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.